Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we have a number of topics again to go through. Every day something new, right? So what do I have for you today? We will definitely be addressing the recruitment in Ukraine, and I will be playing for you a video, a big part of the video in which Maria Zakharova, who is a spokeswoman for the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the Russian Federation, will be addressing that if 14 years old are going to be recruited to Ukrainian army. Can you imagine? Well, I think you can imagine, because during World War II, did it happen with Nazis? I think it did. She also called EU a branch of NATO, which is very accurate. So we will hear from her. Then I also have for you information about Trump administration that is banning dozens of countries as far as the travel ban, and I will read you article about that. Another topic is President Putin and President Trump have phone call conversation scheduled for tomorrow, and that is March 18th. I have one video with Trump in which he is addressing the ceasefire between Ukraine and Russia. Very short clip. I will be playing that for you. Let me see if I have anything else here. And yes, the last video will be about Kursk region. And I think at this stage we can say that Russia liberated Kursk. So I hope this entire operation is completed, but I will play this for you. There is a moment which really touched me, but I will tell you about it later on. However, I decided to start this video with something funny for a change and something light. It's generated by artificial intelligence, of course. This didn't happen, but I will play this for you, so I think you will enjoy a little humor.
Country's in big trouble. Wait a minute. No. You've done a lot of talking. Your country is, if you didn't have our military equipment, if you didn't have our...
I said a lot of times to American people.
Your country's in big trouble. Wait a minute. No. You've done a lot of talking. Your country is, if you didn't have our military...
Pretty cool, huh? I came across this yesterday and I said, I'm gonna share with you guys. It will be in the stories on my Instagram page, AniaK_44, as you could see it. There is a train that President Putin owns, a very interesting train. I want to get more information about that train. Very protected train, indeed. But now let's go to, where shall we go? Let's go to Trump administration and travel ban. What countries are on the list? Let's read this from Reuters, that is not really liked. However, it's just for this article. Trump administration waits travel ban on dozens of countries. Memo says. Washington, March 14th, the Trump administration is considering issuing sweeping travel restrictions for the citizens of dozens of countries as part of new ban, according to sources familiar with the matter and in internal memos seen by Reuters. The memo list of total 41 countries divided into 3 separate groups. The first group of 10 countries, including Afghanistan, Iran, Syria, Cuba, and North Korea, among others, would be the set for a full visa suspension. In the second group, 5 countries, Eritrea, Haiti, Laos, Myanmar, I think it was Burma before, if I'm not mistaken, and South Sudan, would face partial suspensions that would impact tourist and student visas, as well as other immigrant visas, with some exceptions. In the third group of total 26 countries, that includes Belarus, Pakistan, and Turkmenistan. I think Russia is in this as well. among others, would be considered for a partial suspension of US visa insurance if their governments do not make efforts to address deficiencies within 60 days, the memo said. So let's see if I have those countries. I want to click right here, guys. I think Russia is in this third group. Let's see. From the 15th, I see. Let's see. Okay, so we have the countries. I'm going to read this for you. The memo list of a total of 41 countries divided into 3 separate groups. So this is all together. However, like I told you already, I read you already, there are different categories. Full visa suspension is Afghanistan, Cuba, Iran, Libya, North Korea, Somalia, Sudan, Syria, Venezuela, Yemen. The next group, partial visa suspension, and that is tourist, student, and some other visas affected. It's Eritrea, Haiti, Laos, Myanmar, South Sudan. Sorry if I mispronounce Myanmar, but you can read it. And the third category, which has the biggest number of those countries, the most countries are here, recommended for a partial suspension if they do not address deficiencies. So Angola, Antigua and Barbuda, or Barbuda, you say, Belarus, Benin. You know, this is strange because I'm pretty good in geography, but Benin I never heard of. I have to look it up. Bhutan, Burkina Faso, Cabo Verde, Cambodia, Cameroon, Chad, the Democratic Republic of the Congo, Dominica, Equatorial Guinea, Gambia, Liberia, Malawi, Mauritania, Pakistan, Republic of the Congo, St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Lucia, that's Caribbean, Sao Tome and Principe, Sierra Leone, East Timor, Turkmenistan, Vanuatu. So Russia is not in this third group. I know Russia was somewhere here in Belarus. Interesting. Okay. Well, maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think I am. I will attach this down below as well in the description box. Now let's go to President Putin and President Trump phone call that is scheduled for mañana, and that is tomorrow. Let's read this right here from TASS. 1 second, everyone. I have 2 articles from TASS. So this one is from today, March 17th. It says Kremlin confirms Putin-Trump conversation being prepared for Tuesday. Moscow, March 17th. That's 17 today. The conversation between US President Donald Trump and his Russian counterpart Vladimir Putin, scheduled for Tuesday, is indeed being prepared, Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov said at the briefing in response to a TASS question. Quoting Peskov, "Yes, this is indeed the case," he emphasized. "Such a conversation is being prepared for Tuesday." Okay, so we see how this goes tomorrow. Now let's go to President Trump and a short clip in which he was asked a question that he promised to resolve the conflict in Ukraine with Russia within 24 hours once he is re-elected. So let me play this. I mute myself.
Well, I don't want to say it, but we are dealing with him, and I think it's going reasonably well. It's a very complex situation. You know, it's a bloody, terrible war, and I do think it's going well. As you know, we have a ceasefire agreement with the Ukrainian group, and we are trying to get that with Russia too. And I think thus far it's gone okay. We'll know a little bit more on Monday, and that'll be hopefully good.
I'm not understating the complexity of all this, but as a candidate, you said you would have this war settled in 24 hours.
Well, I was being a little bit sarcastic when I said that. I would. What I really mean is I'd like to get it settled, and I think I'll be successful. Bad news for this world because so many people are dying. But I think he's going to agree. I really do. I think I know him pretty well, and I think he's going to agree.
All right, so with this being said, why don't we go to Maria Zakharova, and she will be addressing European Union. Also the number, she will be bringing the numbers of how many people have deserted from the Ukrainian army. Staggering numbers, guys. I mean, literally. So I hope you have a little time to listen. I will be playing a big part of this video because, you know, she's my favorite lady anyway. So let's just do this and let's get the info straight from the source that most of us, I think, trust.
The supporter of inciting a big war by Ursula von der Leyen. The implementation of this so-called plan will contribute to Europe's entry, as she formulated it, direct quote, into a new era of security and prosperity, and this will allow support, again direct quote, for a free and sovereign Ukraine. You know, one could assume that they live in some other world, on another planet, that they do not look out of the window, that they watch only those channels, that they themselves fill with disinformation. There is just one thing. The militarization of those countries that are obviously losing, among other things, the ability to have normal functioning economies is actively, simply at a hypertrophied pace. Historically, this has always been called provoking war. Apart from general conclusions, no details, for example, about the sources of such large-scale financing of the militarization of Europe are given in these documents and in the explanations to them. However, experts rightly note that the European Union will not be able to do without tightening the belts of the social sector. They simply have nowhere else to get these very funds in such quantities, because they are talking, as I said, about a sum that is already approaching 1 trillion euros. How far will this absolutely illusory goal lead the Europeans? As they formulate it, the goal of protection from the Russian threat. It is illusory, because it is all a made-up story. A deliberately made-up story based on Russophobia, on anti-Russian hysteria. And it is being promoted by inadequate and out-of-touch Brussels officials. Well, where will all this lead? I think we will see it soon enough. And it is noteworthy that Ursula von der Leyen's militaristic not fabrications, but delusions, are not shared by everyone. Literally on the eve of the announcement of this aforementioned initiative, a number of EU countries blocked the new package of military aid to Ukraine proposed by the head of European diplomacy, Kaja Kallas, in the amount of up to 20 billion euros on account of the so-called frozen Russian assets. In fact, the European Union is, before our very eyes, finally transforming from an economic union into a militarized structure, becoming a de facto branch of NATO, which is also engaged in outright theft. So to speak, where are the plans for economic growth that the European Union should be engaged in? Where are the forecasts for future economic development that Brussels and all these Brussels officials should be engaged in? Where are the plans for the exit of the EU countries from the economic, industrial, by the way, and scientific and technical crisis? There is none of this. There are only colossal funds for militarization, and it is still unclear where they will get them. Now let's return to the situation in Ukraine. Information about the scale of desertion in the Ukrainian army is appearing in open sources. According to the Ministry of Internal Affairs of Ukraine, in 2024, compared to the first year of the special military operation, the number of cases of unauthorized abandonment of a military unit increased. How many times do you think? 7 times. And the number of desertions increased 11 times. In numbers, it looks like this. In 2022, 3,214 people deserted from the Ukrainian army. 6,183 people left their military units in Ukraine without permission. I will repeat once again. This is 2022. Now let's look at the figures for 2024. This figure was 23,209 people. And now I will say once again about desertion in Ukraine. This is 66,240 people, respectively. And now pay attention. These are the official statistics of Ukraine. In reality, according to experts, there are more than 150,000 people on the run in Ukraine today, and this dynamic has a steady upward trend. In January and February of this year, 35,738 people deserted in Ukraine. I will repeat once again. Only in the period from January to February of the current 2025, more than 35,000 people deserted in Ukraine. Why? It is obvious, because they understand that they were deceived. They were deceived by the Kiev regime. They were deceived by Zelensky. They were deceived by all these liberal so-called Western democracies. In fact, these are real regimes. They realized that they were used, that they are now simply being killed by those who told them about a great future under Zelensky. And against this background, the campaign for so-called voluntary recruitment is gaining momentum. Who is this about? Who are they going to recruit voluntarily? Of course, we put this word in quotation marks. Citizens of Ukraine aged 18 to 24. The first of them signed a contract and have already taken the oath. They will serve in the 10th Mountain Assault Brigade. Do you understand what this is? Do you understand what a Mountain Assault Brigade is? These are not the guys who will control drones, for example, or sit at computer keyboards, or be at dressing stations, or take into account data on losses in the Ukrainian army. No. This is a death trap. This is a replacement for those killed in Zelensky's senseless meat storms. According to Verkhovna Rada Deputy Maxim Savrasov, a bill is currently being developed on the military registration of minors from the age of 14 in Ukraine. The readiness of this bill is estimated at 70%. Well, here it is. The Hitler Youth according to Zelensky. And of course,
Crazy, huh? You know, I just want to emphasize one more time why I'm playing such a long parts of those videos, because you will not see it in the media. If you don't search for it, you will not hear it, okay? And I think it's very important to hear from the source. And you know, Maria Zakharova always says it like it is. Those numbers are absolutely crazy. This new bill that is almost 70% done for 14 years old to join the army. Look, I written this down. This is crazy. 2022, a little bit more than 6,000 people deserted Ukrainian army. 2022, so 3 years ago. Now, in total, we have 150,000 Ukrainians who deserted. So on this note, I'm gonna take you to a video that is showing the situation in Kursk. And there is one moment very early in this video, which when I watched this for the first time, I watched this video about 2, 3 times before I decided to play for you. There is a moment when in which soldiers are evacuating Babushka. When you see this lady's, you know it's Babushka. You see the scarf and with the flowers. That's very like Russian folk, by the way. a lot of similarities in Polish folk as far as the colors and the costumes as well. And that aspect, it just really moves you, touches your heart. You see that those homes that are not fancy at all, very, very humble, modest citizens who live there, you can tell, and they have to go through this shit. So let me play this for you. One second, guys, I have to rewind it because I think I stopped after Babushka, and I will turn off the sound because sound is a little off on this channel. So let's go back and let's play it from the beginning. This is the Kursk region, and I think Russia at this moment, I think they liberated Kursk completely. Yeah. So you will see it. See those homes? Those are not wealthy people. Here is Babushka. Let's see again. You see the scarf right here, an older lady. It's just, she has to live through this. So they withdrawn from most of Kursk region. Oh, how many of those are Ukrainians? How many of those are mercenaries? NATO soldiers? And they still want to take 14 years old. They cannot even carry the gun like that. It's crazy. It's just looking at all of this. It's crazy. Let's see right here. It's a new war front. Look how those people are living now. And he denied, of course, that the Ukrainian troops were in a trap. Of course, what else? Anyway, I will attach the link to this down below this video. You can watch it yourself. And let me think what else I have for you. I think that's about it for today. I think, let me double check. Yes, that's all I have for you today, everyone. Every article and every video that I played for you today will be down below in the description box. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you guys. Thank you for hitting thumbs up, for subscribing to my channel. It's free of charge and it really helps my channel very much, keeps me going. And also to all of you who choose to support my work by becoming my Patreon member or joining my membership on my channel or becoming local supporter. Also, thank you so much for your donations on PayPal. And if you choose to follow me on Instagram, just go to, let me show you again, because you're gonna see this video I played in the stories today. You go under, one second, right here, Anya K _44. And when you click on my photo here, that's a profile photo, that's where you can find those stories. And with this being said, lots of love, and remember, we are the leading edge and we are saving humanity. And I see you in another video. Bye, everyone.